This is the world's most controversial Ferris wheel, the first one ever built into a skyscraper facade. We're in the country of Georgia, and what we're also going to see is a luxury hotel turned into a refugee camp, a 6,000-room cave city, and a church on top of a rock column, which is the initial stop on our journey. The Kotsky Pillar abruptly rises 130 feet, or 40 meters from the hills of central Georgia. And guess what? On top of this natural wonder, there's a tiny church that can be reached via a 20-minute climb on a vertigo-inducing iron ladder. Certainly, it is one of the most isolated churches in the world. And much like Stonehenge or the pyramids, historians are still researching how this church was built atop the towering pillar during the 6th to 8th centuries. This fascinating rock column is located near the city of Chiatura, the once booming mine center of Georgia, known for its 70-year-old cable cars built to transport workers to the manganese mines in the surrounding hills. Today, most of these mines are abandoned. We're also going to see here more unbelievable abandoned places, the highest human settlement in Europe with only one permanent resident, and so much more. Now let's head to Tbilisi, the capital and the largest city of Georgia, where a whopping 1.2 million people live and where some unusual things can be seen. Like the Bank of Georgia building, which appears to be haphazardly built from randomly piled bricks. Or the Leaning Tower, a clock tower on the perpetual brink of falling down. If you're in front of it at 12 p.m. or 7 p.m., you can watch a unique puppet performance. Legend has it that Tbilisi came to life thanks to the hot springs that flow through the area. And that's where the name Tbilisi comes from. It means warm place. Pretty cool, right? Now picture this. Georgia's capital is dotted with many historic bathhouses built on these famed hot springs. These sulfur baths are located below ground level, and some have these semicircular dome ceilings that allow natural light to stream through. The city vibes are off the charts, offering a unique atmosphere to savor ajaruli khachapuri, one of the most traditional Georgian dishes. It is a delicious, boat-shaped bread filled with a generous amount of cheese, butter, and a runny egg yolk in the center. When it's served, people are encouraged to mix the ingredients together, creating a mouth-watering combination. Tbilisi's got some seriously cool stuff, including the Bridge of Peace, a modern-looking structure opened in 2010. It was manufactured and partly constructed in Italy, and then transported to Tbilisi using 200 trucks. Take a look at these other cool structures, like the Ministry of Internal Affairs, the House of Justice, commonly known as the Mushroom Building, the Music Theater and Exhibition Hall, and the luxury Biltmore Hotel Tbilisi, the first Biltmore to pop up outside of the United States. Now cast your focus on the following. Visible from every point in the city is the large Iberia Hotel. Built back in 1967 by the Soviet government, it became the epitome of luxury in the Georgian Soviet Socialist Republic, as Tbilisi was the go-to hotspot for the elites. But fast forward a bit, after the Soviet Union dissolved, Georgia found itself in a tough spot, with violent conflicts in some regions, which led to the expulsion of Georgians from those regions. And let me tell you, many of these displaced people searched for refuge in Tbilisi, and around 800 of them found a new home right in the Iberia Hotel, effectively turning it into a vertical refugee camp. Unlike most refugee camps, this one was not located in a peripheral region, but in the very heart of Georgia's capital. In 2004, these folks were relocated to the suburbs, and the hotel underwent a major makeover. It then reopened in 2008 as a luxury hotel under the name Radisson Blu Iberia. If you thought that was interesting, I've got news for you. We're going to see the highest human settlement in Europe, which has only one permanent resident. Check this out. Georgia is one of the most mountainous countries in Europe, with its northern border partially defined by the Greater Caucasus. That's why there are 2672 prominent peaks in the country and amazing things to see. Here are some of them. Veryovkina Cave, the deepest cave in the world, at 7,257 feet deep or 2,212 meters below the surface. Gurgady Trinity Church, a 14th century masterpiece built high in these jaw-dropping mountains, which is a symbol of Georgian spirituality and endurance. Its stunning setting offers breathtaking panoramic views of the surrounding landscape. Gudaury, located near this epic church and considered by many the best ski resort in Georgia, boasting over 40 miles of slopes or 64 kilometers of skiing trails. Shkara, the highest point of Georgia at 17,037 feet or 5,193 meters. The peak was first climbed in 1888, and since then, it has attracted experienced climbers from all corners of the globe, year after year. And Abano Pass, one of the most dangerous roads in the world. It climbs through a series of twists and turns before plunging into the heart of the Tusheti National Park. The road closes during the winter, and the majority of the region's inhabitants only go up there during summertime to graze their cattle, provide accommodation for tourists, and reconnect with their roots. In the harsh, cold months, they live in lowland communities. But there are exceptions, like in Bachorna, one of the villages located in Tusheti. According to the Georgia General Census, Irakli Kvedogorice is the sole person who lives there all year round. This makes Bachorna the highest human settlement in Europe at 7,694 feet or 2,345 meters above sea level. Born in 1941, Irakli is the only licensed doctor across this mountainous region in northeast Georgia. And he's got a trusty sidekick. Irakli relies on his horse Bichola to visit patients and travel through this remote area. We're gonna see the world's most controversial Ferris wheel soon. But now we're about to dive into the mind-blowing Vardzia Cave Monastery. This is a massive complex of caves and tunnels built in the 12th century. Georgia's Queen Tamar ordered the construction of this self-sufficient city, where villagers could take refuge in the face of enemy raids. Upon completion, it boasted a staggering 6,000 rooms, royal apartments, a large church, and even a winery. By the way, Georgia is widely considered the actual birthplace of wine. They have been crafting this wonderful beverage for at least 8,000 years. And their traditional winemaking method is even listed on the UNESCO Heritage List. Let me break it down for you. This ancient technique is done in these egg-shaped clay vessels called Ferris that are buried underground for fermentation and aging. But here's the cool part. Georgian traditional amber wines are actually orange. That's right, we call them orange wines. This absolutely legendary practice continues to be employed by local winemakers today. Back to our rock-solid marvel, in 1283, only a century after Vardzia's construction, an earthquake destroyed more than 2/3 of the city. The good news is that visitors can explore the still intact parts of this underground complex, with approximately 300 apartments and halls open for visitation. All right, folks, hold on to your hats because another crazy fact about Georgia is how many impressive buildings have been abandoned after the collapse of the Soviet Union. The perfect example is found in the spa resort town of Skaltubo, once the most sought-after rest and recuperation destination in the USSR, known for its healing mineral waters and for its luxurious sanatoriums, bathhouses, and hotels. The complex layout is like an amusement park, with an overgrown center that was a manicured network of walking paths. Its area has over 20 different abandoned buildings, most of them used as shelters by people nowadays. After talking about a go-to spot of the past, let's dive into a go-to spot of today. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the one and only Batumi, the Las Vegas of the Black Sea. A gambling paradise with more casinos, poker clubs, and slot halls than you can count. Full of skyscrapers decked out in neon lights, and guess what? Coasted by beautiful beaches, of course. Even some with black magnetic sand that has healing properties. But let's move a little away from the shoreline and take a look at this tower called Alphabetic Tower. A huge cylindrical building with the entire Georgian alphabet wrapped around it. With 33 letters and no upper or lowercase, the Georgian alphabet is unique in the world, used exclusively for the Georgian language. And how about these giant metal statues of Ali and Nino? They're made of stacked segments that slide towards each other. The two figures merge for an instant before drift apart again. Now this is one of a kind. When you picture a McDonald's restaurant, you probably envision something like this, or this, or this. But the McDonald's in Batumi is like this. It's so fanciful and futuristic that it won the 2014 Best Commercial Building of the Year from the architecture website Arch Daily. Impressive, right? And there's a bonus, a gas station right in the back. Well, here's the moment you've been waiting for. Welcome to Batumi Tower, a regular building where they decided to throw in a Ferris wheel because why not? The story behind this place is just straight up crazy. Planned to be a technological university, the construction of Batumi Tower began in 2011, and the facility was officially opened in 2012 by Georgia's ex-president Mikhail Saakashvili. It stands at a staggering 656 feet tall, that's as high as 200 meters, boasting 35 floors. And on the 27th floor, they built this 8-cabin Ferris wheel that can hold up to 40 people. But that's not all that makes this building itself very unusual. The location of the windows is similar to the Tetris game, and above the Ferris wheel, you can find a golden horn. However, the whole idea of it being a technological university didn't quite work out. The project was heavily criticized because the skyscraper was not compatible with educational standards. So the entire building sat empty for over 2 years. And after this period just collecting dust, Batumi Tower was sold by the government for $25 million at an auction in 2015. And it was transformed into the Le Méridien Batumi, a luxurious 5-star hotel complete with a casino, spa, restaurants, and fashionable residential apartments on the remaining floors. Since this Ferris wheel is now located in a hotel, why not transform its cabins into bedrooms? Just like Emma did on Vienna's giant Ferris wheel, the oldest Ferris wheel in the world still up and spinning. It looks like we've got a game-changing tip for the hotel owners right here.